Let's call the meeting to order at 6:15, if we can stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's copies of the budget, if anybody is really interested. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Apparently, Mike Craig runs the same traffic jam that Councilor Lou Esposito ran into. Maybe not the same one, but. So this portion of the meeting tonight is a public hearing to review and discuss the 2013 fiscal budget. The following preliminary budgets are reviewed: the town of Princetown General Fund, the Water Fund, the Highway Fund, Platterkill, Pattersonville, Pine Grove, and Waynesburg Fire Districts, along with the water and sewer rolls. There's copies for everybody's review and thoughts. We can go through as much detail as we want. So at this point, I will open it up for public comment.
I'm here as the town justice. Just a few words regarding the passing of the 2013 budget as it's presented. The judges and justices in this country are separately elected and by design are insulated from the personal and political agendas of the legislative and executive branches. Traditionally, at every level of government, the separation of powers is respected during the budgetary process. For example, the state budget, the judiciary submits its plan to the governor, and the legislature, and with rare exception, it is approved as submitted. Why? Because from the formation of this union, the relationship between the three prime branches of government have been clearly defined. As such, the intrusion by the town board into the inner workings of the town court should be a concern to every resident of this town. Never in the 27 years of working for the town of Princetown, no matter what party was in power, no matter who the judge was, has the town board interfered with the court until now. And everyone who cares about this town should be alarmed about the precedent that is being set here, particularly in light of the fact that the decision is being made without an iota of knowledge about the functions, duties, and judiciary responsibilities of the court. First, this court has not seen a significant increase in its budget since 1989, and with the exception of addition of court security added in 2008, has remained constant for all those years. Second, the court's operation is of significant importance to the town, and in fact, outside of the town's share of the county sales tax, it is the largest source of revenue for the town. Yet the board would propose that operation of the court be reduced by paying one clerk for 22 hours per week to accomplish what has traditionally been accomplished in 40 hours. Third, I've invited the town board members to visit my office and actually had an understanding of what is involved in running this office. None have taken me up on that offer. Yet here you are, intruding in the operation of another branch of government without the slightest clue as to what they are voting. Seriously, what has happened here is that they have looked at a spreadsheet and arbitrarily imposed a 26% cut in a budget that had not been increased in almost 25 years, based on what? And at the same time, it is increasing the budgets of departments over which it is actually some jurisdiction. So let me put this in perspective. Recently, the court held a meeting with Kevin Riley, the court analyst from the Justice Court Support Operations of the Office of Court Administration. He compared the volume of cases in Princetown with other rural courts with interstate highways. He determined that the town of Skodak was the most comparable of those courts in the capital region based on caseload. Notably, however, Skodak has 2 justices and 4 full-time court clerks. Princetown, on the other hand, has 1 justice and had 2 part-time clerks, which it has now reduced to a 25-hour per week, 1 clerk, and a salary of $18.05 per hour. In 2011, the town of Skodak reported over $452,000 in fines and surcharges and civil fees to the state comptroller. In that same year, town of Princetown reported $482,000 in fines and surcharges, $30,000 more. Both courts returned close to $200,000 to its respective towns and revenues. The town of Skodak ranked 141st in the state in volume out of 1,300 justice courts. The town of Princetown ranked 126, thereby putting it in the top 10% of courts by volume of cases. So let's recap. Princetown Town Court with 1 justice and a clerk cut back to 22 hours is supposed to perform the same volume of duties as a town with 2 justices and 2 clerks working 70 hours. And yet the board is imposing this budget on the court without a single ounce of analytical or empirical data to support the cut. Princetown Court has long been recognized for its efficiency and effectiveness. It has done so with bargain-based overhead. How many of you at work or at home are operating with the same budget you did in 1989? Yet year in and year out, with 1 judge and 2 part-time clerks, we have operated our top 10% court with a pinpoint financial and fiduciary accuracy while creating a valuable return to our town based solely on the massive volume of cases we process. Who would want to screw that up? It is frightening when the unbridled hubris replaces knowledge. From both a constitutional and budgetary perspective, what is going on here should send a chill down the back of every spine in this room. I urge the individual members of this board to stop and think about what they are doing and why. It is not too late to do the right thing and return the budget decisions for the town court where they rightfully belong.
Thank you. Additional comments?
I don't have a comment, I have a question. I just have a question. If, in Michelle's statement, the court really is like the biggest chunk of revenue for the town. Am I right? Is that correct? With, between licenses and, you know, what is it, dog licenses or whatever, that is the biggest revenue.
It's not dog licenses. It's all on the front page.
No, what I'm saying is.
Revenues on the front page.
What I'm saying is that the court brings in the most money for the town.
Yep.
So how can it be, how can you cut the budget when, and still expect the same amount and or more revenue to be for the town? Where's gonna be the compensation for that? Is my question. I don't understand.
All right, well, I will attempt to answer your question in a few minutes. Additional comments?
I'd like to make a comment. I have done some studies myself and got some comparisons around Schenectady County, the area we live. And I've compared the statistics for our court with the town of Rotterdam, which is adjacent to us. Rotterdam has 21,000 people compared to us, 2,500. Rotterdam has two part-time judges, two part-time court clerks that work an average of 6 to 8 hours each, which includes the time in court. So if you were to take the 8 hours for the two, that would be 24 hours that they use. Rotterdam, their total fines they produced last year was $843,940. Princetown, with one part-time judge, two part-time court clerks, they work an average of 40 hours a week. It produced $482,000, which is approximately half of what Rotterdam produced.
Well, I think the 40 hours, just to clarify,
But they
probably
have-
between both the, so it's not 40 hours each, it's 40 hours between, in the whole office, 40 hours plus. Okay.
I think Rotterdam has full-time people.
They have
They have full-time people.
three people.
Well, this came from one of the judges.
No, they have three full-time people.
Said
Wow.
3 part-time.
I know for a fact they have 3 full-time people because a very good friend of mine works there.
Okay.
And she is in fact full-time. I've also gone to pay a ticket,
That's how you know.
unfortunately, and they are full-time people.
Okay.
So the volume, I guess, is, you know, my impression is the volume of work, there's no way it's gonna be able to be put out. The Princetown numbers are gonna drop even more, because you can't produce, how can you stretch yourself that far?
Mike, I just want to, I'm sorry, Lisa, I just
I'm-
want to interject with Mr. Miller's statement. First of all, the town of Rotterdam may have 2 part-time judges. They also have a wealth of businesses within the town that creates much more penal law violations than this court ever had. So you can't, and what, we sat here 2 weeks ago or a month ago, and I tried to compare what the court clerks made there to what we made here, and Mr. Esposito said, we are not comparing courts. We're not comparing the town of Rotterdam to the town of Princetown within Schenectady County. If you're gonna compare courts, you have to compare the same amount of tickets that are issued and the same type of jurisdiction, apples to apples, not apples and oranges.
Okay.
I mean, for a pretty small town, I think we do pretty well considering, as far as the volume of money that's brought in by the court. That is our bread and butter.
Any additional comments?
On that or the whole budget? 'Cause I have another question.
No, it's on the whole budget, whatever your questions are, we're here.
Sorry, that's,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
okay. What is the $10,000 for repairs for town hall? What is that?
It could be, actually, it could be anything, it could be, lights, it could be another, flood, roof, it could be roof.
So it's not stuff that's already pending, it's a just in case kind of, right? If something, in anticipation of, I guess is my question.
Right, so
Okay.
there are some, projects that the board is considering, and we'll put it on, the agendas as we go through into next year, that we'd like to improve into town hall.
That was just curious.
Mhm.
I didn't know if something else broke or if it was,
Nice going. And you just jinxed us again.
well,
Additional comments?
I have one other question, sorry. let's see, the groundskeeper, there's an increase of $1,000. Is that, am I
Correct.
looking at that right?
Right. Yeah,
It's kind of, it's kind of odd.
last year he spent $4,950, so it's off like $50.
So what was the 4,000 from the 2012, what is that?
Repeat your question?
Well, it went from the 495, or the 4950.
is how much we actually spent. The next line over is what was budgeted. So last year, that line went over budget.
So it went over budget.
Right. So this year, we increased about 5,000.
So does that
Sorry.
mean,
5,000, sorry.
so does that mean that that's what the people get paid, is the 5,000? Or
No.
it doesn't
No.
go above
No,
that?
that's just the line. It's not somebody's salary. There's actually probably 2 people, maybe more, on that line.
I don't care who it is, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
what, you know.
This is that's what's budgeted for the outside upkeep of the lawn during summer, fall, spring.
I have one more question,
Okay.
I'm sorry,
You sorry?
and then I'll shut up, I
No?
promise.
Take your time.
Okay, we've got, for the public information services, I have 2 questions actually. What is Sims program? What is that? And what is, there's a big increase between, is that a position, the typist position? Is that the
Correct.
the web admin typist? I don't know what that is.
So Sims is a county program that is a flat fee, costs us $2,000 a year.
What is it though? I mean, I don't know.
I'll have to show, and it's.
Is it a service, I guess, is what I'm asking, or
Was it?
is it a service that's provided, or, no?
Database. Yeah, it's a geographic database.
Okay,
So you can pick on like your property through the computer, hit the square, it opens up and shows your property,
okay,
the boundaries, et cetera. So it's throughout the county, so our portion to look at Princetown and be participated in that program is $2,000 a year.
okay. I just didn't know what it was.
And the person above it is a web administrator / typist.
So what you paid last year was $1,330.
Correct.
Whatever they charged for 2012 is $2,200, and you increased it to $2,400
That's correct.
in anticipation of.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. Oh, sorry.
You sure you want to go? Flip to the next page. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to step up. I'll take, again, more questions as we go through this, but, this is your meeting, so I'm fine with answering questions on the fly. But there are a couple things I want to go on the chart, up in the, on the chart or the board there. close their slideshow. And- So, you know, we ran on this on our campaign, and we talked about this in June. I'm not gonna go through the whole state of the town, I just wanna highlight a couple things. So if you go ahead and jump ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'm fine. As long as everybody else, Amy, you fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So again, these are our savings accounts. All right, go ahead. As you can see, our revenues are dropping. So that's real quick. Again, these are some things we need to be very aware of. Go ahead, Gina. This is pretty important. Again, purple is the expenditures. That's how much money we spent. So 2010, we missed it by, you know, what, $10,000, less than 10,000. Last year, we went over. So this is the critical piece to doing planning. You can't spend more than you're bringing in. That's just basic home checkbook kind of math. I know this is government, I know it's, you know, everything else, but if we're gonna try to keep to this no tax, we need to control our spending. Have to. That's how close, you know, again, 2010, we missed it by $9,000, 2011, we went over. It's pretty basic math. Go ahead, Gino. This is how typically they budget. The green was the budgets. The budgets were way out of whack. I don't understand it, you know, again, I'm not trying to isolate or pick on anybody. This is just maybe how government does it. I don't know. It's my first time in here, so to me, the succession was, oh, well, we came in under budget. Well, you know, again, if I set my own checkbook at $1 million, I'll probably go under budget too. But you don't. You try to live within your paycheck. So again, the purple is our paycheck. No, the dark blue is our paycheck. Our expenditures is what we put out every month. So that's what I'm going to try to, in this